Oh, it's driving me crazy with Sony and gimbal reviews, and I can't make up my mind. A6600, A6100, A6400, A6500, A6300, A6000 gimbals. Moza Air 2, Ronin SC, Zion Crane, Faytech, Weeble Labs. Holy cow. Stop. Oh, killing me. Stick around, because in this video, I'm going to tell you which one you need to get.
I gotta tell you something I could do. I could be running around chasing you, but I won't. Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive, If you hadn't run away every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right next to me tonight. No, you didn't know.
So really, this video is subjective, and obviously it's my opinion. And but I want to give you some helpful pointers that helped me choose the right camera, and possibly you'll be able to get something out of it as well. So first of all, you know, the Sony a6000 line is very confusing, and which one do you get? You know, you've got the new top tier 6600 for $1,400 or almost $1,500, and then you've got the budget version, the 6100 now, for just under or just around $800. But we're still left with the only 6 or 8 month old 6400, which I upgraded from the 6500. And I want to explain to you why I feel I upgraded from the 6500. The 6500 is still a kick-ass camera with in-body stabilization and its form factor, obviously. But there's a few reasons why you would want the 6400 over the 6500. 3 specific reasons. If you're a vlogger, obviously the flip up screen so you can see yourself while you're vlogging. But more so, the battery life in the 6400 is about 30 to 45 minutes longer than it is in the 6500. And I can attest to that because I just had the 6500 for the last 8 or 10 months and used it quite frequently as my B-roll camera. And not only that, but the screen in the 6500 goes dim when you start recording. And outside in bright light on a gimbal or handheld, I need to use the screen, and it's hard for me to see it in bright light because it dims down. So the 6400 takes care of those problems. So why would you want even an aps-c camera to begin with? Well, there's only 2 reasons that I can see why you would want an aps-c camera over a full frame camera. Well, 3 probably. The price, so there's one. If you need a B-roll or a secondary camera and you don't want to fork out another 17 or 2 grand on a full frame camera, the aps-c camera is a very fully functional camera shooting 4K and 120 FPS frames per second in 1080p. So perfect for a B-roll camera. It's lighter, it's compact, it's easy to carry. So I just named 3 more things that I didn't even think about that are part of purchasing a camera. Again, for me, it was because I wanted a B-roll. But if you're new to YouTube content creating, or you just are new to photography and videography, then instead of jumping in and spending, you know, $1,700 or $1,800 or $2,400 on a body, and then you need full frame lenses, whether it's the third-party lenses like Sigma, or you want to get into native lenses, you're going to be at $4 or $5 grand. So especially if you're just starting out and you want to feel the waters and you don't want to spend all that money, then aps-c is the way to go. And I'm not just talking about Sony, I'm talking about Fujifilm as well. Right now, the a6600 is around the $1,400, $1,500 mark. And does that come with a lens for that price? I'm not sure. And then Fujifilm has their X-T3, which is already, gosh, has it been a year already that it came out? And that's in the $1,400, $1,500 mark. Now, I'm not sure if that comes with a lens for that price or not. But anyway, so those are the reasons why I chose the 6400 and why I'm going to stick with the 6400. In-body stabilization, is it that important? IBIS? Yeah, probably to a photographer it is, but they make lenses that have stabilization. So the 6600 is 14, almost $1,500 versus the 6400, which is only $800 or $900. The kit that comes with the lens, I think, is $9, and if you don't get it with the lens, it's $8. So you're saving almost double the price when you get the 6400. The 6600 has the bigger battery, the Z battery that the full-size cameras take. So it's a little bigger, it's gonna be a little heavier, and gosh, I can't imagine you're not gonna get 3 or 4 hours record time out of the battery. But to me, that's not a big deal because I'm not recording for 4 hours at a time, nor am I recording for 30 minutes at a time. So my 6500, which would stop recording after 30 minutes, was not a big deal to me because, again, to me, these are B-roll cameras. I don't use them as my primary videography or photography cameras. They're B-roll, they're secondary, they're off to the side, they're on a gimbal. So that's really how I'm trying to help you make up your mind. Are you looking to get into the game and you don't have the money to buy a full frame camera? Because if you are brand new and you have the money, then by all means buy a full frame camera. But if you travel a lot and you don't want to spend over $2,000 and you're looking for something lighter and more and less expensive, the Sony 6000 line, especially the 6400, to me is the way to go. Again, this is all subjective and opinionated, but I am a semi-professional and I've been getting paid gigs for a while now, and this is why I chose the a6400 for me. As far as gimbals go, with all the gimbals out there, I have the Moza Air 2 for full-size cameras, and it's a heavy gimbal, and I don't know, I think compared to the DJI Ronin, I believe it's right around the same weight, and it carries a heavy payload, and I can put my A7 on with a big lens and the cage and the Moza Air 2, and I'm sure the Ronin carries it, but gosh, it's so heavy to be out there for hours at a time. So I recently did a gig where you saw all that slow-mo stuff from in the intro, and I bought the Ronin SC, and I gotta tell you, I was able to hold this thing all day, lean it against my lap. I walked around with it with the camera on it like this all day long, and I held it out at the end like this, and it's just a phenomenal gimbal. The app for the gimbal, the Ronin, the DJI app, is fantastic, not only for its application of being able to control the gimbal and do so many cool things, but also for balancing. Holy cow, this thing is a dream to balance compared to my Moza Air, which I've been using for a year now, and my Moza Air 2, and it is pretty easy to balance. But this thing is crazy easy to balance. So I'm gonna balance it right now while we're talking. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is I'm really sick of all these cameras coming out so quick, by Sony anyways. I just traded in or sold my a6500 and bought this a6400, and I told you the reasons why I did it. There's a little bit longer battery life, it's got the newer processor, it does the eye autofocus, which, again, by the way, I don't use this as a photography camera. It's strictly, for me, it's a video camera, and that's all it is. And it just happens to take the same lenses as my full frame camera, so that's why I stuck with Sony instead of buying the Fujifilm X-T3 or a GH5, which still does phenomenal work to this date, even though it's a super old camera. But it just made sense for me to get this camera. So anyways, when they announced the a6400 or a6600 and the a6100, I felt a little jaded by Sony, and I'm sure we all did. We just bought the a6400. what, 6 months ago, 4 months ago? Gosh, it hasn't been that long since the time of this video. And then boom, they make more announcements and lenses and whatnot. And so anyways, I felt a little jaded, but then I that's when I started thinking about it. That's when I said to myself, gosh, I don't think I want the a6400 for almost $1,500. For $300 more, you can get the full frame A7 III, which is a phenomenal camera since the new IAF update and all that stuff. It's just fantastic. So there's really no reason, if you bought the a6400 and you're watching this video, there's no reason to be jumping ship and getting the a6600 unless you need that IBIS. But if you needed that IBIS, then you probably didn't buy the a6400. So I think this video is geared towards more people that are kind of confused which one to get. Again, there's so many YouTube videos out there right now that are talking about the a6600 and the a6100, which one to get, and they're comparing it to the a6400, which is good because that's what they should be doing, is comparing it to the a6400. But yeah, so again, for me, it was one of those things where I had the a6500, and I had it on a gimbal, and I mostly, or it was actually filming me for my YouTube channel. So, but I needed a video camera, an upgrade for, like I said, the longer battery life and the brighter screen on the back. So for me to upgrade from the a6500, which I sold, to buy the a6400 was perfect for me because I knew it was going to stay on a gimbal or a tripod its entire life. So again, because I'm not using it for photography, and there's no in-body stabilization, there's no IBIS on the a6400. So for me, it was fine. I was fine with it. So so that's really what you got to ask yourself: is do you need IBIS? I think that's really what it boils down to. Do you have to have IBIS? If you have to have IBIS, then maybe, yeah, the a6400 is for you, or an older a6500, because quite frankly, do you really need the eye autofocus? If you're vlogging, I don't see why you would need the eye autofocus. If you're vlogging with it, I don't know. There's so many questions that have to be that you have to ask because it's a personal thing. But I just wanted to give you all of my insights and why I bought the a6400. For me. So it is going to be a personal preference, a personal choice for you. So I'm just showing you how easy it is to balance this Ronin SC, and with the a6400, it is a dream to balance. And there, that quick, I balanced it. I could fine tune it a little more, and that's the other cool thing in the app. When you connect the Ronin to the app, there's a balancing test in here, and there's a status on your motors because you don't want to overheat your motors. So there it's connected. If I go to status, and I can do a system calibration, I can do under the motor parameters, I can do an auto tune, and this thing is going to automatically tune the motors to the weight of the camera, the position of the weight of the camera. So in my opinion, you just got to get it close when you're hand balancing it. But it is good to obviously spend a little more time. But if you're in a hurry, and then of course, once, like any gimbal, once you balance it 4 or 5 times, you're going to know the position that everything needs to be in. And it's just going to become super easy. So there, it balanced within 45 seconds, and I won't get any stutter or shake. I can do go under Underslung Mode, which I used a lot when you're holding it down. Just a super, look at how tiny this thing gets and the payload, and you can hold this thing all day. And I bought that little adapter to take your hot shoe and turn it into a cold shoe over here, so I can put on a wireless lav if I need to do some talking head stuff. Or it came with this phone adapter so you can track, but the problem is you can't track yourself. It only lets you track other people because the phone app is facing the other way. So, but anyways, this thing broke on me super quick. I didn't think I was rough with it, but it broke. So it's plastic, and quite frankly, this thing will not hold a phone if it's in a OtterBox case. I have the OtterBox, can't remember the name of it. I'll put a link in the description. On my Android Note 9, which is a super heavy phone, and I tried balancing it on here. I got it to balance. It just seems like too big of a phone to be balancing. And then, but with the OtterBox, it wouldn't even fit in the jaws. It kept slipping out. So I bought an aftermarket phone holder that is about the same weight, and that works too. Anyways, again, to me, for a B-roll secondary camera, this setup right here is a godsend. It's just phenomenal. You can't beat it, especially when you're traveling. The whole unit breaks down into a small compact system. Let me turn this off. You can leave the camera attached. Once you got everything dialed in and locked in, you can just leave the camera attached and lock everything in place like this and walk around with it and set it down, and you won't have a problem. For that matter, you can take it apart and you can put it in your backpack. I mean, look at how small everything goes down to nothing. Throw it in your backpack, super light, super agile, and takes phenomenal B-roll footage, whether you do in 4K or 120 frames a second in 1080. I'm sold on this kit, and as far as Sony coming out with more cameras, aps-c cameras, I'm not going to buy into it. I'm good. The 6400 on a gimbal is less money than the 6600. And yeah, so you're not getting a longer battery life, but I'm telling you, you're not shooting for 5 hours at a time straight. You're turning your camera off and waiting for the next event or waiting for the next position or the pose or whatever, the next video part that you're going to take. So I carry an extra 2 batteries around with me. They're tiny, they fit in my pocket. As far as the gimbal goes, if you turn it off when you're not using it, you'll get 2 days out of this battery. If you leave it on all day, it says 11 hours. I think I was getting about 9 or 10 hours leaving it on all day when I went to the islands and did my video shoot. There's a nice battery indicator light on the side handle here. Just an awesome kit to carry around, and I'm sold. And I'm sold on it. I would like to hear your comments of what you think. If I should get to 6600, again, I don't think I should, but maybe I'm wrong. So please leave some comments. And if you got something out of this video and you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. I'm trying to build up my channel. For an old dude, I think I'm doing okay. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Thanks for watching.